Catus Maximus here. This time we're reviewing 1/4-inch hex drive screwdrivers. I figured I'd done the little screwdrivers or the precision screwdrivers. Might as well move on to these. There's obviously a lot to talk about and a lot of accessories and drivers for 1/4-inch drive. And so this is specifically on screwdrivers that are meant to drive little 1/4-inch drive bits such as these. Now, as far as the accessories and variety of bits and ways to drive, from impact drivers and etc., you could easily make quite a few, or I could easily make quite a few videos, and will end up making a few videos just heading around 1/4-inch hex. There is just a huge amount of tools for that one drive size. It's actually pretty amazing, otherwise known as 6mm drive. We have a variety of tools, a lot of American-made ones, a lot of import ones, and different styles, both ratcheting and non-ratcheting. We're going to be covering a wide range of brands, from Easy Power to Craftsman Professional, Makita, Stanley, Napa, Titan, etc. Apex. Let's go ahead and start off with this great neck. Now, and the stubbies in general. So they do make these hex drivers. Most people are familiar with them like this, where they have some kind of provision in the handle to store bits. But they do make them in stubby versions, and they're not actually very common. They're kind of hard to find. I found these eclectically at various different auto parts stores. This is a great neck, and we have a totally unknown, and we have a Apex. Now, Apex has been for a long time a real premium grade or premium brand of 1/4-inch drive hex tools, and you can see they use a really nice high quality resin handle. I like that it's a 4-point when you have deep grooves, so you really just get a lot of traction. And then they use a heavy duty collar that really holds the bits very well, and it's really super compact. It's by far, with a bit, it's as short as this compact stubby, and this compact stubby is much shorter than the great neck stubby. Now, some different aspects of these, like the Apex uses a metal ring to retain it. This one actually has a ball dentant and a magnet, so it's actually dual retaining, which I thought was interesting. So if this ever falls apart with the ball detent, you will still be able to hold a bit in there. What's kind of odd is it holds the bit extra strong because of that, because it has a dual drive. It does have a nice overmolded handle in a triangular shape, which is really nice to get a good grip on. Now, this great neck is actually a ratcheting version, and I like this one because it is a little bit bigger. And for that, you do get bits that are held in the handle. They also use a square shape with some nice humps. This one's a little bit slicker, but what I liked about it is that it's a clutch type ratchet. So you can't hear it ratchet, and I kind of like that. I also like that the ratcheting arc angle is, near infinite. It's going to be well over 100 tooth equivalent. And in the handle, I thought one was interesting is they actually have like a plastic seal on the lid of the handle here, or not plastic, but kind of rubberized, and I thought that was handy. Keeps it from coming loose and prevents grit from getting in there. And then they have this nice in-molded rubber stopper, which is actually held via this cap on the back, and it holds 6 little bits. And I thought, oh, for a compact one, that's actually really nice, as well as having a nice flat back so you can get a lot of pressure on it. And it's actually a really dense unit, even though it's plastic on the outside, with the bits and whatever they're using for the clutch drive. And I did want to point that out, as you can see the bits don't point out very far, but if I put my finger in here, we can see that there's a huge amount of area for that clutch drive mechanism, and you can feel the weight of this. There's a lot of steel in there, so I definitely recommend it. And there's the part number. I can't believe I got it that long ago, 15 years ago. but it doesn't quite go over 90 degrees, and the screwdriver still is pretty long, so it won't fit in as quite a tight a space as this Ampro. But I do, and also has quite a, it's hit and miss. It's made out of glass reinforced nylon on the lower body, and you can see that kind of weird texture that has. The upper handle is not. The collar is glass reinforced nylon, but it does have a heavy duty steel chuck. One thing that I did appreciate about this one is it does have a heavy duty ratchet mechanism, even though it's extremely coarse. We can see this is probably a 20 tooth. But they put knurling, or actually straight line grip on the shank, so once you get a screw loose, it's really easy to grab and spin, and I thought so many of these could have used a similar design. And then I ended up finding this Titan here, which I do like because it has a nice long handle. This is, of course, an older Titan where they decided that they weren't going to brand many of their tools, but this Titan was, one of the tools that kind of set them apart. There's lots of ratcheting screwdrivers, but this one's pretty nice and heavy duty with a nice large handle. It's an all metal reversing mechanism with a real solid dentant. Really nice smooth ratchet mechanism. Excellent knurling on the reversing lever. They have pretty good knurling on the shank, so when you do get the screw loose, you can spin it with your hand. There's the Titan, I always forget. And here's the part number on it. And, of course, it's a steel anvil, so it will last a long time. And even though it's long, it's really pretty tight. There's very little wobble in there. And then it's a style that I like where it has screwdriver tips in the handle. One unique advantage of this Titan is it'll hold 10 bits, but it comes with this special little holder. And I thought that was genius. So it's not just a bunch of loose bits rattling around the handle. And it's easier to pull them in and out of a holder when you can just pull the whole section out and then drop it back in there like that. So I did want to mention that this Titan is one of the best ones for a more, I wouldn't say normal length, this would be an extended length, but still ratcheting hex screwdriver. And of course, the very last one to talk about here in our whole setup is a lighted screwdriver. Now this one also is not ratcheting. It's actually not very well built. It came from a cheap tool set. But I do like it. There's quite a few lighted screwdrivers, and they have improved in recent years. I've had this thing for a long time, and I did want to point out that of all the lighted screwdrivers, really having ones where somehow it gets the light all the way around the shank of the screwdriver is a real big deal. And I do need to upgrade this with an LED bulb. It's so old that it still has an incandescent bulb. But the deal with this is that when you're screwdriving, you can see that it lights up all the way around. There's just a ring of light. So if I have something blocking here, or I have something blocking here, or over here, I still get light right down on top of the fastener. And there's really been nothing that has compared to this one in so many situations where I needed some light, but it was really tight situation because this sends the light, right down the edge of the shaft there. And so when you look at lighted screwdrivers, look at ones that will do that will send light straight down. Because otherwise, a lot of them I've seen, they'll have like an LED on one side, or they'll have an LED on the other side of the screwdriver, and then inevitably a wire or something's blocking it, making it harder to use. Where this one, as long as some sliver of this is exposed, it will shine down onto the fastener. And so I still keep it to this day because so many times when this has really been the one that allowed me to see what I was doing and get the screw head into the screw properly and squarely and get it out of there. So I think I've talked enough about 1/4" hex replaceable tip screwdrivers in this video. I really appreciate everybody watching and subscribing. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. Catus Maximus out.